finally being approved for this hazardous intersection. The Department of Public Works, District 6, a letter that they have forwarded to the Department of Public Works in Boston, which says this study and the report has been completed and shows that this project meets warrants to justify signals and minor alignment alterations of the intersection approaches. We have been waiting, and we have two people here that live in the neighborhood. We have been waiting for this probably for the last 4 or 5 years, maybe even more. This has been a very hazardous intersection, and as you can see behind us, it's poorly aligned. There are blinking lights which no one slows down for, so this was absolutely necessary. The project, by the way, will cost about $350,000. And it will involve, at the very beginning, it will involve the taking of some land very small pieces of land on every side of this intersection. Can you say something? My colleague, Mark Pacheco.
Just congratulate all those involved, in particular this very badly line intersection, the signalization that it deserves for the residents of the area. I've only become aware of it in immediately the last several months, but of the long-standing work that's been done on this by your office and by members who have been here this morning from the Board of Selectmen. So it's badly needed, and I congratulate you. In the times when we have some limited monies available in the state, the precious dollars that are available should go for this type of work to help save lives.
We have Armin Gagnon from the Board of Selectmen who have been working so hard to convince the DPW that this is absolutely necessary.
We've been working on this particular project for approximately 12 years. We finally got the undivided account 4 years ago. Through the good works of Representative Now, finally had authorization or partial authorization to effectuate this project, and I must say, good job, well done. Thank you.
Well, one of the problems that we had up until today, or recently, was that many studies had been done, traffic studies, and for some reason, every time a traffic study was done, the results of that traffic study did not show that full signals were warranted at this intersection. All of the neighbors, all of the people in this area knew that that really wasn't true. They did a new traffic study, and we made it very clear to them that there are 3 schools in this area where the school buses come in and out, that it's a very dangerous intersection. So I think getting the study done and saying that the district saying that yes, it warrants signalization is the key to this project, and it will be done.
No, only congratulations. I'm very happy.
Thank you.
Highway Department for this region, and we're having a public hearing tonight to discuss this project, Route 138, Center Street. And I see there's an awful lot of people from the neighborhood that's interested. That's good. I was directed by Michael Swanson, the chief engineer, to conduct tonight's hearing. Everything said here is being recorded by the stenographer and by tape recorder for official record of this hearing. This is being recorded by ATM, and so when you're asked to identify yourself, it's for the record, so he will have that information. First, I'd like to introduce the members of my staff. J.R. Shearstone, he is representing the design staff, and Paul O'Donnell representing our right-of-way section. Chance from the Boston Expediting Section is hidden in the audience. If you'd like a copy of Barbara, you're welcome. Stay there. I will commence the formal part of this meeting by having J.R. Shearstone read the notice of the hearing. If you would, J.R.
Massachusetts Highway Department public notice of the design public hearing. Design public hearing will be held by the Massachusetts Highway Department to discuss the reconstruction, signalization of the intersection of Route 138 and Center Street and the elimination of the Railroad Bridge, number D812, in the town of Dighton. Where it's Dighton Town Hall, 979 Sunset Ave, Dighton, Mass. Wind, Thursday, September 23rd, 1993 at 7:30 p.m. 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. display of plans for public viewing. First, design public hearing is to provide the public with an opportunity to become fully acquainted with the design and the reconstruction project. All views and comments made at this hearing will be reviewed and considered in the final design to the maximum extent practicable. Proposal. The project consists of the reconstruction of approximately 900 feet of 138 and approximately 1,000 feet of Center Street. Proposed work includes roadway reconstruction, pavement, drainage, installing curbing, sidewalks, traffic control signals, pavement markings, retaining walls, and the removal of bridge number 38-12 over the abandoned railroad tracks on Center Street. The project will require land takings and temporary construction easements for the implementation of reconstruction. The department's policy regarding the easements will be discussed at the hearing. Written views received by the department subsequent to the date of this notice and up to 5 days prior to the date of the hearing will be displayed for public inspection and copying at the time and date listed above. Written statements and other exhibits in place of or in addition to oral statements at the public hearing regarding the proposed undertaking are to be submitted to Michael W. Swanson, Chief Engineer, Mass Highway Department, 10 Park Plaza, Boston, Mass. Such submissions will also be acceptable at the hearing. The final date for receipt of these statements and exhibits will be 10 days after this public hearing. Plans will be on display for 1 hour before the hearing with an engineer in attendance to answer questions in regard to the same. Signed, Linda T. Benningfield, Commissioner, Michael W. Swanson, PE, Chief Engineer, Boston.
Thank you, Richard. The notice of public hearing appeared in the following newspapers: the Taunton Daily Gazette on 9/9/93 and 9/16/93, and the Fall River Herald on 9/9/93 and 9/16/93. Page 2 of the brochure you have received explains the purpose of this hearing. In this letter, Commissioner Benningfield states that this public hearing presents an opportunity for us to explain the plans for the proposed project, at the same time obtain your comments on the proposal being displayed. The plans are being displayed are sufficiently developed to study and discuss the salient features of the proposed project. After this hearing, refinements will be made in the design of the facility. This prevents the department taking into consideration your comments before reaching a final decision. That, for the most part, explains the purpose of the hearing tonight. We want to show you what is proposed, get your comments on it, and answer your questions. Mr. Shearstone will now explain the project. Please hold your questions until after he has finished his explanation.
By the turnout, it looks like everybody wants signals here. The job encompasses, like the notice said, 900 feet of 138, this being 138, coming towards Taunton, towards Fall River down here. Center Street on the west side goes a few hundred feet, and all the way across the intersection, just ends just about in front of the first building at Bristol Agricultural School. This area in here represents the removal of the bridge, the railroad bridge, and the filling of the same. We have a little color code down here and chart that I'm not so sure that you can see it all that great, but the brown represents fieldstone masonry wall proposed. The yellow proposed pit-con surface. The red, whatever that color is, I guess chartreuse, the proposed pit-con driveway. Blue would be proposed sidewalk. Green, naturally proposed seed or sod. Darker yellow here is proposed gravel driveway. And these lines, the black line would be the existing layout. The orange line says top and bottom of proposed slopes. And the red line is proposed state highway acquisition. So we're taking land will be the new state highway line. And as you can see, these represent, shown, this being the roadway surface, this being Center Street's roadway surface, the green sod, the blue would be sidewalk, chartreuse here would be the Bitcon paving, whether it be driveways or whatnot. The same is true all the way up. One extra point here, this dark red line, as that chart says, will be the new state highway layout line. Come right across Center Street, through, come all the way to the end of the job. Same on this side, just on the corner around me, goes up, state highway layout, and it joins the existing state highway layout. This red line would be a town layout that the state will make on behalf of the town in order to get the width of roadway here to satisfy the signals. This plan here, well, shows the same intersection. Taunton being up here, Fall River down here, showing the proposed signals, which will be mounted on mast arms, different locations, and a couple ground mounts. Which of those are just the poles with one signal head on it. There'll be detection loop, pavement markings, and so forth to fit the intersection the way it should be able to operate. Most of this other stuff is just the phasing of the signals. Just a couple pictures of the proposed reconstruction, only a cross-section of it. If you took this road and cut it here and looked at a section of it, end view of it, this is what basically you'll see. Center Street will be a full-depth reconstruction. From all the way down here, basically from here up to there, will be full-depth reconstruction, meaning they'll go down a couple feet, excavating, and then apply different layers of roadway sub-base riding surfaces. What the notice shows that it will be granite curved on most of the job. This is 138 section. We're not doing full excavation for the purpose of keeping the traffic moving. And they'll be called box cut widenings. The edge of the surface, existing surface, is right where this darker line is, little vertical line here, and over here. You basically come in a foot and up to 6 feet, cut the road, and then we add our new road to make it, to get the width that we need at the intersection. These colors basically, or should correspond to these colors down here. Blue being the sidewalks, green the lawn, and yellow the riding surface. And after the whole job is constructed, it will be paved, pavement markings, and turn on the signals and go to it.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. O'Donnell, the Department of Right-of-Way Bureau, will explain the requirements of rights of entry and land taking procedures. Paul?
My name is Paul O'Donnell. I'm with the Mass Highway Department. I'm in the Right-of-Way Bureau. And our main function in the whole construction process is to acquire all the necessary rights in the private and public lands necessary to accomplish the whole project. This present design, there will be some land takings and some temporary construction easements. There may be some right of entries also. But any and all of the property owners that are affected, you are protected under the state law, Chapter 79 of the general laws. And again, our function is to meet with you, someone from our department, more than likely in this project it will be me. And I'll meet with you individually and explain all your rights and and review the project and the plans and explain the process after I leave. And that's basically what we do. So after this hearing, you'll be hearing probably from me when all the plans are set, and I'll go over everything with you. But in the meantime, I'll be available during the open forum here for any general questions, and after the hearing, anything specific you want to know, I'll be happy to help. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Paul. The tentative schedule for this project, subject to the availability of funding and the time of advertising for bids, is to advertise the project in the spring of 1994 with a construction season completion in the fall of 1994. It's about a one-year project, one construction year project. The approximate cost of the construction is $500,000. I hope you've had a chance to look at the plans on display, and we will welcome your comments on them shortly. There are no wetlands affected by this project. As pointed out, the purpose of this hearing, these plans are in the development stage, and all of your comments will be addressed. We may not be able to do everything everyone would like to see done, but if it's a realistic proposal, we will give it every consideration. At present, the plans are about 70% complete. Before we open the hearing to you and try to answer your questions and concerns, I would like to explain a few of the ground rules. I would like everyone who wants to talk to enter their comments into the hearing to please identify themselves, their full name and their affiliation. It is necessary in order for us to obtain the full verbatim transcript as required by law. We request your opening comments be limited to no more than 5 minutes. After everyone has heard, we will allow additional time for those who wish to make further comments. Kindly direct all your comments through me. It is a normal procedure to ask elected officials, first with the federal, then the state, and then the local, to make the comments first, and then open the meeting to the general public. There are some elected officials here. Are there any federal officials here? Representative Menard was not able to make it this evening. She had a prior commitment. She does have an associate here. Would you please stand and then state your name?
Good evening. My name is Mike Ferrer. I'm an aide to Representative Joe Menard. On behalf of Representative Menard, I'd like to thank the Mass Highway Department and the Town of Dighton for the opportunity to be here this evening. Unfortunately, Representative Menard was out of state on official business, was not able to be here, but she felt this was a very important event and she asked me to stand in for her. In doing so, she asked me to read a letter that she had prepared for tonight's hearing. The letter is addressed to Commissioner Bedingfield. If I could, I'd like to read that. Dear Commissioner Bedingfield, I would like to go on record as strongly supporting the proposal presently under consideration by the Massachusetts Highway Department for a full traffic light at the intersection of Route 138 and Center Street in Dighton. The importance of this particular project to the town of Dighton and its residents is hard to exaggerate. Over the years, this intersection has been the scene of countless traffic accidents, many of which have been quite serious in nature. At the same time, I have received, as a state legislator representing Dighton, more calls and letters concerning the dangers of this intersection than any other single issue impacting the town. There is little doubt that this intersection, as presently constructed, is inherently dangerous and poses a significant safety risk for any motorist. However, residents of Dighton are particularly concerned about the safety and well-being of the many school children who pass through this intersection on a daily basis as a result of the 3 schools located within 1 mile of it. That very legitimate concern is further heightened by the obvious difficulty that school buses have when entering or exiting the intersection, and that there is no doubt that the possibility of a mishap of catastrophic proportions exists. The construction of a full traffic signal and improvements at the intersection of Route 138 and Center Street has consistently been one of my top legislative priorities. It has also been of paramount concern for a host of other legislators, town officials, highway department employees, and citizen advocates. For years, the need for this project has been evaluated, discussed, and debated. And while I realize everyone may not agree with each detail of the plan outlined, I feel the need for improvements at this intersection is vividly clear, and I urge the highway department to move forward with this project as expeditiously as possible. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. If you need any additional information, please do not hesitate to contact me. With every good wish, I am sincerely Joan M. Menard, Majority Whip.
Thank you. There are some selectmen present. There are 3 present.
Correct.
Okay. Is the chairman here? Would you like to speak, sir?
Our only concern is, and we're very happy that attention is being given to the light after, I believe, 25 years of effort on the part of many town officials going back that far. Consideration should be given for passage across the Berkeley-Dighton Bridge. There are many people that use Center Street and the bridge and this intersection to either go or come from work. There's a very busy place at certain times of day. In the construction phase, consideration be given that Center Street not be closed down at any time. That would be of major importance to the local people, both here on this side of the river, and also the people in Berkeley, and many people in Somerset, Swansea, Rehoboth, and Seacon use the Berkeley-Dighton Bridge to travel to the places of employment in the Lakeville, Middleborough, Plymouth area. And that consideration be given that that particular passageway not be closed down at any time.
Chair, can you address that?
The roadway will never be shut down. Through traffic will go. Certainly when we're going to remove the bridge, can't leave Center Street open.
No, yes.
Okay, we have talked with your fire department and have tried to think of a time span when the actual removal of the span and the last filling in of the bridge can be limited to the most minimum time and disruption for through traffic. Right now, we have one idea where we want to fill up to where a machine cannot fit underneath the superstructure of the bridge, and the fill that we put in, leaving approximately 6-7 feet of fill left. At that time, we'll put in a new water main to the city, have it activated and online, and hopefully the gas company will too. And on a Saturday, or at least on a schedule that's compatible with Bristol Ag, because that's the only way the buses will get there. We felt that possibly working Saturday and Sunday would be enough time for this contractor, whoever it may be. Certainly if you get a small contractor and he gets the bid on this job, he might not be capable of doing that kind of work in 2 days. Conversely, some probably could do it quicker, in a day, say. But the specification will be written that he will continue the work filling that gap until it's completed. If it takes Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and it's done, fine. But we have limited, tried to put a limit on any kind of inconvenience whatsoever, knowing the problem with Dighton Bridge also. So we thought of it.
Thank you. Now, 2 other selectmen?
Yes.
Mr. Verona, you?
Yes, I'm too pleased that positive action is finally undertaken for traffic safety improvement. My other concern is the removal of that railroad bridge. At present, that is a hazard to the neighbors that live that abut that bridge when they exit onto Center Street. It's unfortunate that one end of the family has to stay on Center Street to make sure that they can exit onto Center Street to avoid an accident. That is a dangerous situation. And I am pleased to see that they're going to remove that bridge and lower the grade. And I would suggest to lower it as much as possible so they can have better visibility to the east side coming up. And if not, if a flashing light can be placed there, because I don't believe too many motorists pay heed to the sign that says hidden driveway. That thing would be an hazard to take into that as well.
Yeah, can you address that, please?
That's one of the considerations of taking. We needed to take the bridge out. We were ordered to take it out 3 years ago, approximately, and the state had run out of that type of account, money in that kind of account. So we put it on the back burner until we had some. But certainly the signals won't operate or will not be visible unless 4 feet is taken out of that bridge. So we thought that possibly if we could include it in this job, that improve your new signals, improve whatever, or eliminate whatever kind of safety hazard it is from sight distance and, the abutting neighbors near the bridge. And we would be coming in your town, and construction will last for 6 months. We'd get 2 problems fixed and move out. And it seems to be the most expedient way to do it. So, we realize the problem. We'll address it.
Do you have any further questions or comments?
No, as the chairman stated before, I'm sure you take into consideration that the weight limit that will be also on the new proposed bridge. And I assume that it would prevail on the abandoned railroad bridge as well? Or is that going to be completely?
I'm not sure.
Well, is that going to be completely covered, or is that still going to
The
be?
railroad bridge will be taken out and dirt will be put in the hole. And there'll be a road going right over it.
Fine.
There will be no bridge. I'd like to now take questions from the general public. Does anybody have a question or a comment they'd like to make? Just raise your hand, Bill. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Jim Santos. I'm the superintendent of the agricultural school. I'd like to go on record as stating that I am very much in favor of the light, and I'm glad that we're going forward with it. Our students, probably 80% of them, pass through that intersection twice a day, so that it's going to be a vast improvement for us. Secondly, one of my concerns would be the timing, and I appreciate the fact that you've given this a thought. I know that you have. If it is indeed going to be closed for 2 or 3 or 4 days, that you look at our school calendar and realize that our buses cannot go over the Berkeley-Dighton Bridge whatsoever.
Before, to interrupt you, right?
Certainly, go ahead.
Before they start any final bridge removal, it's in 2 phases. It's when we put it in the contract, he has to live by the word, in the letter of the word. He has to not only contact a Dighton Fire, Dighton Police, Berkeley Fire, Berkeley Police, you people, and the school committee in general. Everyone is notified 10 days, I believe it's 10 days, in advance to when he's going to start. And it's also spelled out that it should basically, his work for removing that span initially should be scheduled around Bristol Aggie's schedule. It's quite possible that if, for a scenario, he starts in April, and he might do all of 138 and some of Center Street, basically tie that all in. The school vacation comes, or summer vacation, he might tackle that then. Or he could do it during the Christmas break. It all depends. He's supposed to coordinate it with you people, and he'll have to.
Okay, that's one of my principal concerns, that we coordinate with our
Definitely.
calendar. The other issue I'm curious about is a cross-section or topo to this here. Are there any plans or some sort of color under here at all?
No, there is not.
Under there at all? There's none at this time.
I'm going to expound on that.
Go right ahead.
Traveled down your property, got permission from a couple of people in school to see if there was any kind of access to this railroad right away down there. And they mentioned the bike path.
Yes, sir, like a nature trail and a bridle trail.
Okay. Well, we are taking out the bridge because we can't maintain a structure that was by the stroke of a pen given to the state. And we just can't maintain it. So we're filling in the structure, and it wasn't our intention to put back another structure that requires maintenance money. So what we're going to do is fill the slopes, not a 2-to-1, but we're going to go out twice as far and put a 4-to-1. So if a future bike path does arrive down this right away for the railroad, they'll be able to go on a very gentle slope, cross Center Street, go down the other side and continue on their way.
So that's in the topo, this represents a 4-to-1 pitch here.
That is correct.
That's probably good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Yes.
With Elizabeth Balashak, Monroe Street, Dighton. With regard to the plans, is it, just so I'm clear, the most substantial property takings are on the southerly side of
West side.
138?
West side.
Westerly side of 138.
Westerly side of 138, correct.
And are any of the takings more than 25% of individual property owners' parcels?
No. We have the charging on the square footage if you have it.
Do you have any setbacks, what the setbacks are going to be for the individual homes?
Well, if the
I
road
can
will
scale
shift,
them if you like. but
No, I'm just,
There'll be at least, well, I can do it.
The road shifts slightly to the west. So there is one building that's close to the road now, will be less close to the road when we're finished. All right, the other homes will...
it appeared from when I was looking at the plan that on one side of 138, you're going from the current road, what boundary, and making improvements, and you're taking the majority of the land on the other side of the street. Is that correct?
That's correct. The road is shifting a small amount to the west in order to improve the sight distance. Right now, when you come out of Center Street, there's a home right on the corner. You look to your left, and you can't see because of the building. So when it's shifting to the west, you will be further out into the intersection. You'll now be able to look to your left and see vehicles. It's a safety concern. There are no buildings being taken. There are some small parcels of land being taken. Are there any other questions? Yes, sir.
My name is Roland Hebert. I'm a Transportation Planning Manager for SERPET, the Regional Planning Agency. I noticed that in the abandoned railway that water collects from time to time. And I'm wondering if there was anything that you could do during construction and fill that would aid in the drainage of that water in the abandoned railway. So that if in fact a bikeway project is initiated, that it would aid in that construction.
We will be putting an 18-inch pipe underneath the fill, with a couple manholes with flared ends. It's more of an equalizer just so we don't dam it up on one side, just let it carry it through. There are 2 ditch sections, I'm sure, with all the debris and being an ungraded railroad bed right now, that there probably would be some puddling here and there, and it exists now. Our intention is to grade it as much as we have to within the scope of our work. We wouldn't consider grading the railroad bed all the way down to Somerset in this project. There will be an equalizer that sheds snow water, just keeps it going. That's all we're doing.
I was just looking to see if there was anything at the site in terms of creating a basin that could drain the water off slower, or going deeper with some stone or something that might help the drainage.
And we have no plans for doing any drainage on the rail bed. If the rail bed is developed in the future as a trail, then they will have to do the drainage at that time.
All right, that's fine. I'd like to commend the department for getting rid of this hump in the road. And I remember talking about this good 15 years ago when we were dealing with the first parts of replacing the Berkeley-Dighton Bridge, and recognizing at that time that we wanted to get rid of that hump, and that'll maintain, that'll aid in the safety of people crossing the road with no visibility of traffic. So thank you very much.
Are there any other questions or comments? Yes, sir.
My name is Frank Donahue, and I represent the Three Rivers Trail that was proposed on the railroad. And we had a proposal whereby handicapped people could use the road bed when it was turned into a trail. And that reason was that it was a fairly level form of rail passage area. And with this proposal that you're stating here tonight, with some type of embankment that allows you to go up and over Center Street, my question is, will this be totally accessible to, say, handicapped people who may use this proposed trail?
So when the trail is built, then it will have to be built to the ADA standards. If you go to the site now, you will see that the road elevation that's now on the top of the road, the bridge, will be 4 feet lower. So you're going to start with a lower level to begin with. But at the time the trail is constructed, they would be responsible for building the 12-to-1 slopes, which are necessary to meet the ADA requirements.
Thank you.
Any other further questions? Yes, sir.
Bill LaPointe from the Agricultural School. Just as a point of clarification, everyone keeps on mentioning this trail that may be coming up 2, 5, 10 years down the line in terms of a bicycle trail. We have a nature trail project going on right now that we had hoped to utilize this rail bed as part of the project. I spoke to one representative, it might have been you, sir, earlier about this. So just as a point of clarification, everybody seems to think that these trails are going to be coming 3, 5, 10 years down the line. We envision something taking place much, much sooner than that, perhaps as soon as this year. So any consideration that you could give to making that slope as gradual as you possibly could, alleviating any water puddling that may occur in there, would certainly be helpful to us at the Aggie School. Our first preference would be a culvert.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
If I may, one follow-up. Was there any consideration, or could there be any consideration, given us putting a pipe in for sewerage at a later date at the agricultural school? We're not in a position where we need it now, but it's something that may very well be needed in the future. Is there a possibility of putting in a pipe while the road is being completely reconstructed?
This is a sanitary sewage pipe?
That's correct.
Certainly, this would be the time to do the work, but would have to be coordinated with our contractor. Otherwise, we'd end up in a situation where the job couldn't be completed because we're waiting for your contractor. And I don't think we'd want that to happen. So if you can get us the details as soon as possible, and we'll see if we can work with you and try to...
It's a municipal sewer. The request would have to come from the selectmen. At which point, if there is no sewer down there, and now you want us to provide for one, it would be considered betterment. In the state, the town, we would put it as a non-participating item, and the town would pick up the tab for the cost of the sewer main going across. But even if it did come, it isn't like a bridge where maybe we should allow for it immediately, because the span is there and we just can't tear down bridges. Where it's going to be an earth fill, it would not be a monumental task to just dig it and, well, I don't know. We're not supposed to cut the road after it's built for 6 years, but if it's 10 years down the road and you need some sewer, they just put it in like it was any other project. Because it wouldn't be a span on it, it'd just be earth now. Just be a trench and backfill, just like they did out here on 138. Plus the stone masonry, abutments and so forth will be taken down to such a level to provide for any kind of utility going through there anyway.
If you can give us some detail as soon as possible, we'll try to work with you. Yes, sir.
Gene Nelson, President of the Board of Trustees of the high school. I think what he was driving at is maybe just a dead pipe. Or it'd be an empty pipe put through that area.
From where to where, sir? From where to where, sir?
Just through the span you're working. And then in 5 years or 6 years later, if sewer's ever run down there, that pipe would already be in the ground as an empty pipe.
That's what Mr. Shearson was referring to. If the pipe was put in from 138 down to the school, that would be the responsibility of the town to pay for it.
Right.
It can be done
at
the same time, but the town would have to agree to pay for it.
Right, I understand that. He was basically just wanted to put like a 30-foot span at the time of construction and leave it. But then I realized you have a great problem.
A 30-foot span?
I'm just pulling a number out.
Where, across where the bridge used to be? Oh, that's no problem. The bridge isn't going to be there anymore.
Right.
You can put it to the left or the right.
What I was asking for is basically just a dead pipe, so at future time, say in 4 years they needed sewer brought down. They wouldn't have to dig that area up and have a dead pipe in.
Well, I think there's probably enough room to put a sewer main on the side of the road without going through the new pavement anyway. And there's enough slope there, so there's not going to be a problem as far as the construction done by us. But please, if you have, put it in writing and put it through the selectmen, and we'll try to work with you. Any other questions or comments, please? Yes, sir.
James Reddy, 1651 Elm Street. Regarding the signaling, the timing of the signals, 138 is a major north-south access, and if emergency vehicles are going to be tied up and waiting for a light to change, I was wondering if any thought has been given to have an automatic remote control signaling changes.
You mean a preempt system?
Yes.
We haven't had it requested by the town yet. Certainly, if it's the town requested, we'll look into it to see if it's feasible.
How about the timing? Is one going to have preferential over the other one?
The major volume will have, which is 138, will be given most of the time frame of the sequence of timing on this. For instance, anything better. If, let's just take 60-second cycle, 138 might get 35 seconds. Then there'll be a 5-second type switchover from from green to yellow and then to red. And then the other road will be getting maybe a 15 or a 20-second cycle. I think it's figured on a 90-second cycle. It's on there. But the major traffic will get the preference in time stream.
Is that going to be a trip light? If, in other words,
Yes, yeah.
So there's no
There will be a traffic actuated signal. So if there's no traffic on Center Street, it will remain green on 138. And then if this is 2 o'clock in the morning, who wants to stop for a signal if no one else is there? All right, but if you trip the signal, there is a traffic actuation device. The loops are cut into the road, they detect the vehicle, and it changes the cycle for them. All right? Are there any other questions? Anyone? Thank you very much for attending this meeting. I'd like to thank the town officials for providing us with this room. A page in the rear of your brochure has been provided for you to write your comments and send them in to the chief engineer's office, or you could leave them here this evening. The engineers will remain after this meeting to answer your individual questions. If you have some questions on your property, we'll be glad to help you with it. I would appreciate if everyone here has signed in the sign-in sheet if they haven't already. I declare this hearing closed. Thank you very much for attending. Thank you.